Is the Apple Vision Pro dead? I had to make this video to respond to Moon's video called The Catastrophic Failure of the Vision Pro. Obviously I'm biased because I make content for how to program for the Apple Vision Pro. So I don't think that the Vision Pro is dead. And I just want to talk about some of the claims that Moon made in his video. I do concede that the product isn't there yet, and it probably won't be for maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years. But let's remember that the Apple Watch, a product that people were very skeptical about when it first launched, the sales were poor, and people generally discounted the Apple Watch as a failure. It took about 3 generations to truly convert people. It had weak sales initially because of sensor technology, because of a lot of the tech improved, the form improved. It's now become the best-selling watch in the world, and it sells more watches than the entire Swiss industry. So can we expect a similar trajectory with the Vision Pro? I'm going to address all the things in Moon's video. Point number 1, Apple is discontinuing the product. I don't think this is true. There's no reports that Apple is discontinuing the R&D of the next iteration of the product, though it's been pushed back 1 more year. What it is they're discontinuing the planned continued production of the Apple Vision Pro. There's just low demand for the product, and that's fine. That happens with any first generation new device, especially one that's priced so high as the Apple Vision Pro. They're scaling back on production, and it indicates that Apple just has a sufficient number of units in stock, so they don't need to make any more units. Apple has enough units in its inventory to meet demand for the remaining lifespan of the first generation of the product through to the next year. It's not as popular as initially estimated, but as I said before, the first Apple Watch wasn't that popular, and there were a lot of skeptics on the first iPhone as well. I think that people haven't been able to try the product because of the price, and my opinion is that when you try a device, any AR VR device that's high quality, you become converted, and it's hard to get an opportunity to try the device because even in the Apple Store, it's not a great experience to have to talk to someone and then put this device on, and you're in this store with a lot of hustle and bustle, and you don't really feel comfortable using the device very long or trying to do anything you want on the device. But the experience of VR AR is undeniable. I was a skeptic too. And I was a skeptic until I tried my friend's HTC Vive and played Half-Life Alyx for the first time. That was the moment of my conversion, because every VR experience I'd had before that was just a poor experience. It was just like, it felt like a novelty. But when you really experience a real AR VR experience, it blows your mind a bit, and then you see like, this is the future. We're all going to be experiencing things in this way, but it's going to take time, and I don't think it's going to come as fast as we expect. I don't think it's going to really come for maybe about 10 years because the tech isn't there. It's just too heavy. The high resolution stuff, it has to become less cumbersome on the face. It has to become maybe like goggles or glasses. But the experience is there. If you try any of the Apple immersive movies, you will be blown away. I tried the new one, Submerged, which is the first scripted Apple immersive movie, and it's actually, I thought the script of that story would be boring if you saw it on TV. It would be like a made-for-TV movie. But when you experience it on the Apple Vision Pro and you're fully immersed, it actually is a very immersive experience. It gets your heart racing, like you feel like you're there, and it puts you into the situation in a way that no other technology has ever done before for me. Like, well, maybe my first IMAX movie. That's kind of how it felt. When I saw my first IMAX, I was just totally blown away. You feel like you're there, and that's the only way I can explain it. I've tried the NFL, the NBA, and the soccer, I believe it was MLS, immersive videos, and it's the same thing. You feel like you're there. And this will be the future of sports. Like, I actually would prefer watching a basketball game with Vision Pro over going to the real thing if the cost of the real thing was too high. It's a very comparable experience. Like, I watched the NBA All-Star Game immersive video and it felt like I was there. It felt like I could touch Travis Kelce's beard in the NFL Super Bowl one. And seeing sports in that way is pretty incredible. So I just think that this product is going to continue to evolve. And it's also going to continue to evolve because Meta is going to keep releasing new products, and Apple does not want to get left behind, so they're going to keep making more Vision Pro products. It's just not going to come as quick as we think it is. Claim number 2, it's not worth the cost. This claim is true. I think it's too expensive, and I think that's why the product's not succeeding, especially because a lot of people are struggling economically right now. You just can't blow that kind of money on a product. One thing that does help it is that I think it's a better TV experience than any large TV you can get. And if I had to choose between buying a large TV and a Vision Pro, I would obviously buy the Vision Pro. I think it's a better experience. The downside with that is you can't share that experience, so you can't watch movies together if you want to sit next to people and watch a movie. And also remember, the cost thing is what people said about the first iPod and the first iPhone. The first iPod was $400 back in 2001, and adjusted for inflation, that'd be about $700 today. And the first iPhone was between $500 and $600, and adjusted for inflation, that'd be over $700 to $800 today. Back in when the iPhone came out, some of you might not have been around. For flip phones, you would never pay $700 for a flip phone. You'd pay like $100 at the most. It was kind of a shocking price tag at the time. Claim number 3, there's not enough apps. That's also true, but it's the same situation that the first iPhone had. They didn't have enough apps. They needed developers to create apps for it. And eventually that ecosystem started to fill out because it became very lucrative to make iPhone apps, and that's going to happen if there's widespread adoption of AR, VR devices. He also says Netflix isn't on the Vision Pro, and a lot of the major brands aren't on the Vision Pro. Well, I really think this is just a function of these companies trying to squeeze Apple, which is a normal thing that companies do. They hold out until they get concessions from Apple. I mean, Apple takes a lot of cut per app, and that's always been a point of contention on Apple. I'm not saying who's right, who's wrong. I'm just saying that major companies, until they get something they want, they don't bring their apps to the product. That'll change. Eventually the Beatles was on iTunes, and it took a long time for that to happen. So big brands hold out until they get something they want, and that's just how it is. Claim number 4, not much thought went into the battery. This one kind of really pissed me off a bit because it's true, the experience isn't that great having an external battery, but it just shows that they didn't do enough research, because this was a major point of contention in the development of the Apple Vision Pro. In fact, there's rumors that the debate caused some people to leave. I've heard rumors that the debate between the battery pack was a point of contention for Joni, and it's just a design sacrifice they had to make because the technology right now is not capable of having the battery be on the device itself, because it's a heavy thing. I mean, he says this, Moon says this, and says they didn't put any thought into it. And the next thing he says is that the device is too heavy. So that's the whole reason why there was an external battery pack, is because the device was already too heavy. In the future, hopefully we'll find some solutions to this. Maybe we'll have a way to make the battery smaller, and that's just gonna have to be a progression of this technology. It's too heavy right now. Things have to get lighter and smaller, and that takes time. Comfort. He says that they didn't take comfort into account. I would argue that they did. I would argue that this is just the best that it can get right now. Again, it's going to take more progression of this technology. I mean, the straps is actually very well made. You could see that it's made of quality materials. and they really tried to take this into account, but it's just not there yet. The rest of the video, he just talks about more technology issues, tech limitations, which I don't want to go over too much. I just think that these problems will eventually find a solution. He says you don't want to wear in public, and there's not enough practical applications for it. Again, that just takes more time with this product, more imagination from developers, and it takes a smaller, more wearable product that looks less conspicuous on the face. Eventually that's going to be achievable. And he says this product is an overstimulation device and it's an isolation device. And I mean, we already have those. Those are iPhones. We already use isolation and overstimulation devices. But the real crux is that this is going to separate us from each other. And I just think what this is to me is, in the future, you're going to have this very inconspicuous device on, and you won't even need a phone. You'll be completely hands-free. And that feature might not come to pass. That's just how I think it's going to be. You can pull up screens wherever you are. And that isn't an isolation device. That's just something that you wear that has some augmented reality features for your daily life, and it has a lot of practical uses. I've seen it's a very kind of scary application of it, but I've seen this one journalist who was wearing glasses and he used face recognition and he was able to find information about people he was talking to on the street. That's a scary application, but imagine a future where we have some legislation on this and we have privacy rights on this. And then imagine a future where you can allow access to your information. Like, say I add you on Instagram. I'm allowing you access my information on Instagram. I'm allowing you to see more of myself. And then you walk into a party, you allow access to seeing some information about someone, and then you can see some head-up display that might display some facts about the person you're speaking with. Maybe this would come in handy in business interactions. Like, you would see some information about their company, the market cap, etc. And that could help in a discussion with a person when you're doing a business transaction. Another application, imagine you're a surgeon. You wear this Vision Pro, and then you can actually see through. It actually would give you x-ray vision of the body part that you're operating on. So there's a lot of application possibilities with this, but this is very high, pie in the sky application ideas, and these things might take 10 or 20 years. Till then, it's going to be an entertainment device. I perceive that the thing that they need to lean into right now is immersive experiences and videos, especially sports, because when I saw the NBA and the NFL and the soccer immersive experience, I was blown away. And so they just need to make more of these immersive video experiences and maybe some immersive game experiences. Half-Life Alyx is the best immersive game I've ever played. I haven't played very many, admittedly, but I don't think there are very many great immersive game experiences on the Vision Pro yet. It's just a matter of time. So is the Apple Vision Pro dead? No, and I think it's impossible to kill it, because even if this version of the product is dead, doesn't sell well, if it totally fails, Apple is still the #1 company in the world. Meta is the #7 company in the world. And Meta is going to try to take device dominance away from Apple by betting on AR/VR headsets. In the future, if an AR/VR headset really succeeds, it's going to completely replace the phone. We won't even need phones because we can pull up screens wherever we are. And Apple does not want that to happen. So this product is going to continue. It's just going to be a lot more slow of a rollout than we think. The iterations might be not yearly, more like 5 years. So that's really what's going to happen. Right now, it's kind of a device that is being used to explore applications of new technology and to develop new technology to be used in the ideal form of this device in the future, which is the ideal form has not been reached yet. So those are my thoughts. Like and subscribe. And I've got more content. I'll continue to make content on programming for Apple Vision Pro and music and art content and mastery and Vision Pro content. Thanks for watching.